Bonjour and welcome to the Red Lake Nation College Gikendaasowin Podcast. Join us each week for discussion on topics including culture and language, career exploration, RLNC student spotlights, student projects, and other RLNC services. This week, RLNC's Recruitment and Retention Coordinator and Director of Social Media, Micah Whitecloud, interviews RLNC Student Mitchell Johnson, conducted on May 24, 2022. Red Lake Nation College would like to thank the National Endowment for the Humanities for their generous support in the creation of this podcast.
Bonjour ni G Anishinabeg, Bangi Atigo Ninita Anishinabem, Niwi Kagwejatun G Anishinabe Moyan, Ogichidakwe Anishnakaz, Makwa Nendodum, Tauko Nendojiba, Miskwaga Miwizaga Iganing Ishnakade Ishkoningin Wenjibayan. Hello, my name is Micah Whitecloud. I'm the Recruitment and Retention Coordinator as well as Director of Social Media at the Red Lake Nation College. I would like to say Chimi Gwitch for tuning in today for our Student Spotlight podcast series where we highlight great things our students are doing. Today we have Mitchell Johnson joining us. Welcome! I mean, if you just want to go ahead and introduce yourself and do all that cool stuff.
Yeah. Hello. Bonjour. Makuns Nindigo, Minawa, Sonny Johnson, or Mitch Johnson, Nindijinaka, Jaganashimang, Manamegnan Dodem, Miskwa Gamiwi, Zaga Iganing, Nindun Jaba. So thanks so much for having me today. Glad to be here.
Well, we're glad to have you. So Mitch, I was just wondering, how long have you been attending RLNC now?
I just finished up my first year here at RLNC, going into my second.
Okay, very nice. So that's exciting. Almost halfway through.
Yeah.
Have you attended any other universities or colleges before?
Yeah, I went to a couple colleges right out of high school. Just try to go with the flow and do what everyone else was doing. And I went to Bemidji State for a little while, and then I ended up going to University of Minnesota Morris for a little while, and just wasn't ready for the college thing at that time. So took a little break from school for a while, and now I'm back, and it's going great.
Very nice. So you've had like a non-traditional student experience then?
Yeah, I'd say so.
Yeah.
Kind of jumped around, and I'm a little bit older. I'm almost 28, so a little bit older, later to the game. But yeah, no, I'm enjoying it now.
So how did you find out about RLNC?
I found out through mainly the community. I heard a lot of good things about RLNC and a lot of good stuff that they were doing, and a lot about their language program. And then my mom actually was the one that was really nudging me to look into RLNC and see what they're all about. And yeah, so just kind of the community and my family is where I heard about it.
So we kind of talked about this before, but like you grew up in Bemidji, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so you grew up kind of like off-res, as people would say up here.
Yeah.
And so what's that experience been like coming home to this?
Man, it's been wonderful. It's been a blessing. Like you said, I grew up in Bemidji. I lived in Red Lake for the first handful of years of my life, and then my family moved down to Bemidji. That's where I grew up, and that's where I went to school, and it's where I worked, had my first job and stuff like that. So I'm definitely from Bemidji, but it's been really nice to come home and to come back to the community and, just kind of surround myself with our culture and with our language. And like I said, it's just been a blessing coming home.
Well, and even the environment, right? Because I just love the fact that we have our lake so close to us and so picturesque on our campus that it's just, I love having that.
And then like all the small lakes too, working up here in the summer, I work for the DNR, so bouncing around in the back roads and looking at all the little lakes and all the woods we have, it's pretty awesome up here.
Absolutely gorgeous. Just Ojibwe paradise, right?
For sure.
So what do you like best about RLNC? What are some things that you just really, really enjoy about this college?
I guess I'd have to say I really like the smaller class sizes. I think that was something that kind of stuck out to me right away when I first started. It was like pretty small classes, and it's not a big deal if you have a question in the middle of class or things like that. You always get scared to ask in bigger classes. So that was nice, just being comfortable in class. But then, like I said before, like all the language and the culture that the school just emphasizes. And just when you come to school, you're just kind of surrounded by the language and the culture, and that's really important to me, and I really like that about the school.
I think even like our professors, like even in their mannerisms and the way they teach, like it's just very Anishinaabe way. Like,
for sure.
It's just that minimum bimasiwin, I feel like on campus a lot, and because sometimes they'll get sidetracked off their like game plan or whatever, and then we'll just sit there and discuss something that they find important about our culture, and I love that. Like that they just wanted to share their knowledge about that certain subject with us, and like we just continue to pass it on, and I love that about being here at the college.
Right. I've learned so much in the last year. It's just crazy. Like you said, like even when they go off on like not exactly what we're studying, it's still like really important and really cool information that they're giving to the students. So learning a lot.
So what is your favorite class at RLNC?
Gosh, I think my favorite class would have to be Lucas's Ojibwe classes. I really enjoy those classes. I'm really learning a lot about our language, and I really appreciate the way he teaches. And he's kind of like slow pace and make sure like everyone understands what's going on, and like we all work together. And I've really learned a lot in the last 2 Ojibwe classes, and then this fall I'm signed up for 3. So really looking forward to that.
I've monitored a couple of those classes and gotten to enjoy watching you and your classmates like go back and forth and banter with Ojibwe, and that's probably one of the coolest experiences is just watching people go back and forth in Ojibwe and just being like, yeah, we're still here, we're still kicking it, we're still using our language, like, and the fact that we're all just wanting to learn that and have that aspect in our life, I think is so incredibly important for future generations too.
Oh, for sure.
Like,
there's a good amount of my classmates that are like really hungry to learn the language, and it's nice learning in an environment with people who are interested in it like that,
and who want to learn, and like not just for school, they don't want to be able to like just regurgitate it, they want to like truly know it,
right,
and
pass
live
it on. Yeah.
And I think that's just like, I think that's what sets us apart from other tribal colleges maybe possibly, is that fact that we have that much emphasis. We don't want you to regurgitate. We want you to actually really learn the things that we're teaching you, so that you can pass it on to your children and they can pass it on theirs.
Right.
And I love that about the culture at RLNC. So at RLNC, there's a bunch of, you said there was a lot of like one-on-one contact with students, right? With your professors and student relationships and dynamics and everything. So everybody has a preferred learning style. Do a lot of your professors meet your preferred learning style? And if they don't, do you talk to them about it? And like, do you like discuss that, or how they help supporting you with it, your preferred learning style?
Yeah. So like I said, I like the fact that most of our classes are pretty small. You get a lot more like one-on-one, and then even in those smaller groups, you can discuss with your classmates and stuff. So I like that aspect of it. But I think like even when there are times in like class where I miss something or I don't fully understand it, it's not that big of a deal for me to like shoot out an email to my professor. Like I know that's normal at other schools, but sometimes you get like nervous about asking questions and stuff, but it's not really like that here at all. It's really comfortable. You get to know all your professors pretty fast, I feel like. And so it's a comfortable environment where it's okay to ask questions, and like they'll get back to you pretty quick on stuff. And yeah, like they said, the smaller class sizes is helpful for me in my learning style.
Well, and that's one thing about Red Lake Nation College that I really like too, is our support system, I feel like, because not only does that support system come in to play with our professors and our students, but it also comes in to play with our students and our staff, because we have all of our amazing services and student services. We have our emergency aid, our student pantries, our technology backpack.
There you go.
Sometimes it just gets stuck. And we have all of these cool things on campus so that we can help guide our students in the best possible manner, in the highest way that we can support them on campus. And I think that's like really important for college students too. Do you think if you would have had some of those programs, you would have done better at your other schools?
Yeah, I mean, hopefully. I think it definitely would have helped me a lot just to have the resources that we have here at RLNC, but I think it was more of a personal thing for me. I just mentally wasn't in the right headspace to like focus and go to school and be responsible and whatnot.
Has RLNC helped you with that at all?
Oh,
or
absolutely. Like, just learning how to navigate, like doing online school and stuff like that, and making sure your calendar is all up to date and things like that. But I've had a lot of help from, people like Brandon and a lot of the staff who have, oh, you need me to show you how to get this, how to do that, how to navigate this site or whatever. There's always people willing to help and stuff.
Very cool. So, what would you tell anyone looking to go to RLNC?
I would say anyone who's like interested in coming here, I would say that even if you never did well in school before, I would recommend giving RLNC a shot. Because for me, growing up, I wasn't a very good student, or I just wasn't always like the top of the class. But here, like, my success has just been great. And I think it's just because of the school and, like we were saying, all the support and stuff. But for anyone who's coming here, I think if you're interested in the culture of the Ojibwe culture and our language, I think it'd be a good move to kind of see what we're all about here. Because I think if you're into that stuff and you really want to learn about it, I mean, this is a really great place to do it. And like I said, in the last year, I've learned so much about, lots of different subjects, but especially our culture and our language and stuff like that. So I think for anyone who's interested in that aspect of things and wants to get a good education, wants to be involved in a really cool community where you have a lot of support, I would say Red Lake Nation College is for you.
I know. Have you ever taken advantage of our cultural connection classes? Oh wait, you've only been here for a year, so yeah.
Not
quite. I answered kind of my own question. But I know you have gotten to go on a couple different trips with RLNC. What are those like, and why did you get to go on them?
Yeah, so I went this last spring. I went on a couple trips with the school, and the first one we went to Washington, D.C., and that was for basically it was for being a part of the President's Club. So it's like a 3.5 GPA and higher or something like that. So it's like a handful of students and like top of the class or whatever.
So you went from being not the greatest student to being on our President's Club with a 3.5 GPA. That's correct.
In the first year. So that was pretty cool. Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, that just says it in itself. Like I said, I'm not just trying to be humble. Like, I wasn't a good student at all. Like, I was terrible. I was having a hard time focusing, and here I'm doing a lot better and really like school. Mm-hmm. Yeah, but that trip though, the DC one, that was for the President's Club, and we went kind of as a good job, pat on the back, just again, that support from the school. And then we also went to meet with a state senator. So we got to meet with them not a state senator, a U.S. senator, and meet with them for a little while. We met with Tina Smith in her office and got to chat with her, and yeah, it was a really cool experience. And then a few weeks after that, there was another President's Club trip, and it was to Florida, Orlando, and that one was a little bit more of a vacation. Like, there was still some academic stuff that we did, and we went to a couple of conferences when we first went down there, and leadership conferences and stuff. But after that, we just kind of hung out at the beach and enjoyed spring break. But yeah, the trips that I went on with the school were super cool. So it was nice to have that support too, just people behind you telling you good job and all that.
Yeah, we really want to make sure your successes are celebrated at RLNC.
For sure.
I think that is really cool that we do that. But speaking of going back to some of our earlier conversation about some of the struggles that you may have faced as a student, what were they? And have you faced any at RLNC? And if you have, how has RLNC helped you with those?
Sure. So I think kind of going back to what we were saying about my past school experience and my first try going to college, I definitely just, I'm trying to think of how to explain it. I definitely just struggled with the whole aspect of being responsible, being on time, showing up to class. I was just a young kid. I just didn't, I don't know. My brain wasn't fully developed or whatever. I don't know.
Well,
whatever
they're
you want to say.
Right? Well, our brains aren't fully developed until 25?
Something, yeah, right. So that checks out for me because it wasn't until after I was 25 that I got my butt in gear. But I think that some of those struggles that I faced, I think were just due to going to bigger schools and just kind of feeling a little overwhelmed, and then taking that feeling and then not really wanting to, continue or participate, or, college isn't really for me. It's kind of the vibe I got. But coming here with that smaller class size and all the support that we've been talking about, it's really helped me like flourish as a student. And now I like school. It's weird, 10 years ago, I would have never said that really. Like, I never had a good experience, but now I look forward to my classes.
You're one of our best students and top students on campus currently.
Yeah. So it's going good. It's really working out well for me.
That is amazing. We love to hear that. What are some things that you do to keep yourself organized while you're on campus? Because I know, especially just right after finals, right? Things were stressful the past couple of weeks. So how did you keep sane? And what would you offer advice to other incoming freshmen that will be dealing with that for the first time in the fall,
Yeah. I think, being a student, a newer student this last semester, I hadn't been in school for a long time. So coming back to it, I was nervous for that kind of stuff. How am I going to deal with the stress and finals and tests and all that? But I think the best advice I could give is just give yourself time. Use planners, use your computer calendar to plan things out, set reminders in your phone to keep you on track. Technology's helped me out a lot this last year, especially with everything being distance learning and, basically living on the computer to go to school. But yeah, I think giving yourself time. And when I was in finals this last year and this last couple weeks ago, I would try to give myself weird time, periods to do work. So I do work for an hour and then take 30 minutes and do nothing. Just go for a walk or something, and then come back and then do another hour of homework and then take a break. That way I'm not just 6 hours later completely fried, just give myself a little bit of breathing room. And I feel like I can kind of absorb what I'm studying if I take those little breathers. So yeah, I just set reminders and give yourself plenty of time. I like to meditate when I can and if I remember to. So just doing simple breathing exercises keeps the stress down during finals and all that. But yeah, just give yourself time. That's what I'd say. Cool. You'll get through it.
So what is one thing you would wish you had known before leaving high school?
That you can do it. That I know it sounds funny, but that you can actually go to school and be successful, go to college and be successful. Going out of high school, I was all right, that's it. I'm done with school. High school's over and I'm not going to think about school anymore. That was kind of where I was at mentally, but I think just having support and knowing in the back of your head, hey, I can do this. This is possible. And even for someone like me, we've been saying, I struggled a lot in school, bounced around from weird, odd jobs my whole life. And I just think that knowing that you can do it is fumbling all over my words here, but basically if I can do it, you can do it is essentially what I'm trying to get at.
No, I got you.
Just knowing that you can do it, that there's support out there, that no matter how scary and how big it may seem, just give it a shot, because you're just gonna. Ever since I enrolled in school, it's just been one good thing after another. Being involved in quiz bowl things with our language classes and meeting a bunch of people through that kind of stuff. And now this summer I'm in this language group with the people in the community. So just get out there and try it. I think there's good things out there. So.
Well, and then you even opened your own sugar bush up to us, didn't you? And let a couple of students come out to.
No, not mine. That was the schools. That was the Red Lake School District's sugar bush.
Okay.
But yeah, no, I do have a sugar bush though.
Very cool.
Yeah, yep, over in Little Rock. And so springtime, that's
one of the things that you get to do on campus that I think is really, really, really cool. And I know that we are purchasing canoes so that we can start racing.
Oh, cool.
So.
Yeah, that's another thing my family does.
Ooh.
I've been doing that my whole life. So yeah, I'd like to get involved in that. That'd be cool.
That'd be awesome, yeah. Are you a part of any of the clubs on campus besides?
I'm not a part of any clubs per se. I was asked by the school to be the student representative And that basically means that I'm just kind of the student face of the school. And then I also represent the other tribal schools in the area. So that'd be White Earth, Fond du Lac, and Leech Lake College as well too. So every year those schools kind of trade off and like they get a representative from each school. So this year it was Red Lake's turn and they chose me. So I was the student advisor or whatever, and I sat on a council that met once or twice a month and just discussed colleges and different programs that we as a college could get involved in. And it was basically like you just sat down with a group of students from, a couple of them were from state schools, a couple were from Minnesota, University of Minnesota schools, and then I was the tribal school representative. So yeah, it was cool. I learned a lot and got to sit on the board and listen and kind of see how bigger schools kind of do their thing and stuff like that. But yeah, it was a cool experience. I learned a lot of stuff and met a lot of cool people.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Well, is there anything else you want to say before we head on out of here, Mitchell?
No.
Well, actually, hold on. Just kidding. I lied. Because I guess I'm that person. What are your plans after graduation?
Oh, yeah. So the plans keep changing on me a little bit as time goes on. I think that happens to a lot of people. But right now, my plan is to kind of stick with the language side of school. So when I'm done here at RLNC, my plan is to transfer to Bemidji State University, give that a go again, and get involved in their American Indian studies and language over there. Very
cool. I think that's cool that that RLNC is giving you that confidence to try again like that.
Oh yeah, totally. This go around, I don't even feel like it's a worry. Like I can do it. Yeah. You know. But yeah, I'd like to stick with the language, and eventually, I'd even like to teach children Ojibwe. And so I know like the school or the tribe is opening a immersion school up here, and so I'd like to get involved in something like that and work with kids and stick with the language though.
That sounds incredible. Yeah. Well, thank you, Mitchell, for coming on today, and I think that's all we got for you today. Thank you all, guys.
Yeah, right on. Thank you so much for having me.
Which, till next time.
We hope you enjoyed this week's episode. Be sure to join us next week as we hear from RLNC students in their podcast projects they created in Dr. Hokinson's Cultural Geography class. Miigwech. A chi miigwech to the following for their efforts in the creation of this Red Lake Nation College Gikendaasowin Podcast episode. Opening and closing music by Director of Equity, Cultural Education, and Archives, Floyd Buck Jordan. Opening introduction and closing preview by NEH podcast intern Rebecca Peterson. Our host this week, RLNC Recruitment and Retention Coordinator and Director of Social Media, Micah Whitecloud. Our guest speaker this week, RLNC Student Mitchell Johnson. Production by Innovation Center Coordinator Brandon Spears and NEH podcast intern Rebecca Peterson. And the National Endowment for the Humanities for their generous support.